Olá, pessoal. Sou Carlos Pulpo, editor do site Headbangers News, e tenho um entrevistado muito especial aqui, Jeff Becerra, vocalista do Possessed, que em breve estará em São Paulo, se apresentando no Kool Metal Fest, previsto para 9 de junho. Hi, Jeff. Thank you very much.
Hi, how's it going? Hey, thank you for having me. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much for granting us some time to speak with us.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here. How are you guys doing?
Fine.
Good.
Before discussing the South American tour, I have to dive straight into the topic of a possible new album. Revelations of Oblivion was released in 2019 after more than 30 years without recording any material. Can we now expect the successor of this album?
Yes, I'm working on it right now. We're working we still have our contractual obligations, but we still have 2 more on the contract, but I'm not planning on stopping anytime. I'm just going to keep chugging along. I mean, I know I'm late because of the virus and the pandemic and all that. We got kind of dragged behind, and then so I'm kind of just catching back up to speed. But we're writing, and what I'm going to do is just write this one and continue writing for the next one. So,
I will ask you about that. How was the pandemic affect the band plans and the creative process during this period? Many bands record their albums remotely from the distance. How did it work with you during this time?
well, unfortunately, right around the time of the pandemic, I got very ill, and I had to go have a surgery, a massive surgery. So that's really what set us back. It would have been an opportune time to write the album. In fact, it would have been perfect, but that's just not how it rolled. But the good point is that in a lot of ways, the pandemic saved my life, because I couldn't really afford the surgery, but they looked at the skin flap surgery from a pressure sore. They have to cut your whole back up and stitch it back together or grind it out. It's really brutal. It's like a Cannibal Corpse song, but they wouldn't cover it where I was, but they covered it in the next state over because the pandemic raised the standards or lowered the standards where I could go across the border and get it. So in a way, it saved my life. It made it so that I'm able to get up and around easier now. And right now, we're just kind of, I'm hoping that will be the solution, so, so we're testing out little tours at a time.
But
yeah,
now
I hope
you're
so.
okay. Great.
So far, so good. Yeah.
Great.
A lot better than I was. That's for sure.
Cool. And what the fans can expect from this new album? How was it returning to a studio and the stage after such long time, and the challenge you face?
This album is a lot different. I think with Revelations of Oblivion, Billions, that was the comeback after 33 years or whatever. I kind of had to stay in my own lane, like I couldn't be too abstract, and I wasn't limited. I knew what I wanted, and I'm kind of a one-trick pony. I'm always Possessed is always going to sound like me because it's me. That's what I do. That's my one thing, And
Right.
so like Motorhead sounds like Motorhead. Even if you've never heard a Motorhead song, you say that's Motorhead. And Merciful Fate sounds like Merciful Fate, and so on and so forth. And Possessed, wanted to sound like very Possessed. So we did that. And on this one, I think that I have it's more challenging because I can step outside of the lane a little bit more. And the creative process is is it's a lot. It's a lot different, but it feels good so far. But it's definitely going to be a different kind of album. So
Cool. And talking about the sound, uh, how do you see the evolution of your vocal abilities from the early days of Possessed until now? And are the specific techniques you have recently incorporated that are influencing the band sound?
I think I've made a concerted effort. Originally, Possessed, our intention was to be the heaviest, fastest, most satanic band on the planet. And at that time, that was possible, and we achieved that, you know. So rather than what I call a race to the bottom, and I'm not bagging on any other bands, but for Possessed, rather than go heavier, 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 you know, more noisy, more noisy, more noisy, faster, faster, faster. I just I think there's different ways to be heavy. Of course, Possessed is always going to be a super fast band, but I'm incorporating more change up, more tones. I'm pronouncing, you know, making a concerted effort to pronounce the words and the lyrics a little bit more. I don't think it should be like a rite of passage to grit your teeth and and and, and suffer through an album just to say, you know, that you like a band. I want it to be, you know, uh, fun to listen to. You know, I want people to enjoy it. You know,
Right.
but it's still super heavy. I think this is probably going to be so far lyrically, it's the darkest album I've written so far. So, but it's
And
got change up, it's got melodies, and you know, back with first wave of death metal, it stemmed from the roots of thrash metal, and and we just kind of straight timed it and took it over the top where nobody was going. And so I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I want to keep the strong elements of thrash because, you know, as the melody, it has the you know, the everything that makes thrash great, along with, you know, that kind of Possessed first wave death metal sound. You know?
you talk about the trash, but Possessed is indeed a pioneer of death metal. How do you view the Possessed impact on the stream scene over the years?
The Possessed effect. Oh, I mean, but we were definitely the first band to market ourselves and call ourselves a death metal band, and that was very much a when you're growing up in the San Francisco Bay Underground, copying or plagiarizing or trying to sound like another band was big taboo. It would never work. And you know, when you're on the scene with bands like Exodus and Metallica, back then it was Exodus with the Kings, and then Metallica, and then, you know, all the people coming from LA later on, like Slayer and Megadeth, and so, and you
How
know, all the,
fantastic ages.
yeah, you have a legacy, which turned into forbidden. You had to do something distinctly different. You couldn't just, you know, it wasn't like now where people say everything's been done before. That's not true. No, I mean, there's a lot that hasn't been done, and I think there's a lot of bands out there proving it. Death metal has become a lot larger now, and it makes it easier, if anything, to incorporate the different things. But I think that being the first, it sparked that idea. But every band is their own band. Like they're, everybody's their own individual. And if you're writing from the heart and you're not just carbon copying somebody, it's going to sound like that individual. And that's the beautiful part about, you know, death metal, is that, you know, the people that are into it are really into it. There's not many weekend warriors at this level that, you know, everybody's really doing their own thing. So while I might have been first, and I'm proud when people say they're influenced by Possessed. Of course, everybody's playing their own thing. So,
And you live with fantastic bands in this time, you know.
yeah,
It was a fantastic generation.
yes, yeah. Before, back then, it was okay just to be the heaviest because, you know, we were little kids when we came out. Larry was 15 on Seven Churches. I was 16. And, when you're competing with these bands, or not competing, you're just trying to tread water. Uh, our thing was to be heavier and darker and more satanic. And we were literally little kids that's up there. And that was kind of our hook back then. But now it's a different story. You have to actually, be a real musician. And I mean, we were real musicians, but you have to finesse it. It's a lot more professional, I guess,
Yeah, with the maturity, perhaps.
Yes, people have definitely matured, and people are definitely looking at bands a lot more than the 80s was a wild, wild time. Everybody was partying, everybody was crazy, but it felt revolutionary. And in the beginning, it felt like we were a part of some revolution. And I think that that kind of attitude has never left death metal, and that's why I think it's just the most fantastic genre on the face of the planet. It's going so many different ways. It's like these osric tentacles. You have everything from classic death metal to black and death, and the hyphenated bands, which I don't really like hyphenated. I like to keep them pure, but still, I mean, I call everything death metal that I think is death metal. You have melodic death metal, you have folk death metal, you have brutal death metal, you have tech death metal, you have all the European strains. I mean, look at California compared to Florida are two different things. Florida and California are completely different than New York, which is completely different than, it's, Finland or Sweden and so everybody's
Brazil.
and Brazil. Oh, I won't forget Brazil. Brazil is muy important, like super important. Brazil has been important is from the beginning. I mean, and I think that people like Max and Igor and the Sepultura, they were some of the first to recognize what we were doing, and of course they're just monsters in the field now. And in Brazil, it's just amazing, man. I mean, every time I go on a live or every time I make a post, Brazil, Brazil, Brazil. And I look at the statistics of my social media, and Brazil is right up in those countries, the top.
Brazilians are crazy, man.
Yeah, Brazil is for metalheads, man. Metalheads, like through and
are
through.
very, very passionate people.
It's part of the culture, And I can tell I love going to Brazil. I miss coming to Brazil. I'm really, really looking forward to coming back.
You have faced many challenges and very serious personal issues, and serve as a source of inspiration for many headbangers around the world. What do you like to say to the fans who are inspired by your journey of overcoming?
Well, I mean, I to me, it's like our supporters are like everything to me. I mean, they're the ones who brought me back. The hundreds or thousands of letters back when people used to write letters, and people just will come back. Will you come back? And in my darkest times, that was that pinpoint of light where the people that listen to Possessed and the people that were reaching out, and I always had that hope. And they're the ones who really brought me back. So if anything is inspiring, I think the fans and supporters have been the inspiration to me, and what really, really drives me. I'm not here. Money doesn't inspire me. The music and the fans and really just putting on a good show is all that matters to me. So.
And you receive a lot of love of this fans. I saw this in the social media.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's reciprocated for sure, man. I mean, I love everybody as much as they love me, and like I think there's something really passionate and true about Possessed and my role in Possessed and the role that I'm constantly in contact. It's really important to me. Like I don't feel right unless I talk to like a bunch of people every day, and everybody knows me and I know them. It's like one family. We feel like we know each other. We do know each other.
And now I do want to talk about for this this tour of Latin America. There are any surprises prepared for the shows?
Um, I think we'll play a lot of old stuff. Well, I'll try to hit something from every album, but you know, the anniversary of Seven Churches is coming around, so we'll play a lot of that. And of course, people have really become quite enamored with the with Rue Revelations of Oblivion, so I can't leave that out. It's just a matter of trying to squeeze it all in and fit in. I mean, I don't have that many albums, so what I have, I'm going to try to showcase in just the right way. You know?
Sure.
You can tell if you're dragging on one album too much, you know. So after the years, you kind of hone it down and see what people want.
But I think it will be
No
great
surprises.
because
Straight possessed.
because the fans will love the old stuff.
Yes, of course, of course. We
And
never forget the old stuff, you know. But of course, with the next album approaching, you got to kind of push and follow the album cycle out, you know. And people really love the new stuff too. So I just don't want to leave anybody out, you know.
and we are close to end the interview and our time, and give a message to Brazilian fans who are eager to see you and the Kool Metal Fest.
Hails Brazil, man. The plague of possess is coming to your town. It's going to be like a beautiful curse, man. I can't wait to come back. It's been such a like a joy and honor every time I come to Brazil, or every time I've been there. It's just been those imprinted memories that, you know, for me, a guy growing up in the SF Bay Area, it's big time still to come to Brazil and see everybody there. Everybody get your tickets. Don't miss the show. It's going to be a really good one, and rock out. And I cannot wait to see you. Obrigado, Brazil.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
666 on the head of the